Okay, then, I greet you one more time from the heart. And so, from the studios of Enterprise TV, this is Citizen Jones Hussein, welcoming you one and all to another program in the series, Homo Politicus. The media does one major thing, set agenda, and goes on to provoke a debate. So let's go there. 2027 political maneuvering. Senator Sani warns that former President Buhari's Daura home is Mecca to northern politicians. Now, former British Prime Minister Harold Wilson in the mid-1960s reflected that a week is a long time in politics. Perhaps he never knew that in Africa, the next election begins right after the last election results are announced. The last few days have witnessed visits by heavyweight politicians of the northern hue to the Daura home of the immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari. Not one to let such things slip by, Kaduna-born Senators Shehu Sani has warned that the rush of visits to the retired president is an indication that attempts to unseat incumbent President Bola Tinubu come 2027 are on. That these desperate politicians are plotting to use Buhari to unseat Tinubu is not just curious, but ludicrous. The late German leader and political theorist Otto von Bismarck said, quote, "Man cannot control the current of events. He can only float with them and steer." Now let's provoke the conversation. My guest this morning is the one you already know and are familiar with. Cyril Abaku, broadcaster and everything, man. Cyril, I greet you.
Thank you, Citizen Jones. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, Cyril, the subject matter is not Greek to you.
It's not.
Very known to you.
It's not.
You don't think it's laughable?
It's funny, really, because seeing the person Buhari had become by the time he left office, or even the man he became while he was going to, people gave him benefit of the doubt. By the time he left office, I think he left office on a low. And then it was widely thought that this man had lost his messianic appeal in the north.
Okay.
But to think that today he has become a resort raises questions not just about Buhari himself, but about the polity. It means that we have not risen above certain tendencies. I recall that in 1999, right up to 2011-15.
Okay.
Babangida's house was like this, was easily the Mecca.
Yeah.
Governorship candidates, even presidential aspirants. There's a famous story about the
went to get anointed.
Yes. There's a famous, in the Bible, it was the prophet who used to go and look for the person to be anointed and will anoint him, like Samuel did to David. But in Nigeria's own case, it is the anointee that goes to look for the anointer. So in the case of Babangida, I mean, his hilltop mansion in Mecca was usually a hunt for political office seekers.
Yeah.
Perhaps still is. But what we're seeing today in Daura, not even in Katina or even in any other major city, but in a village called Daura,
yeah.
What we're seeing today is a lot more, like I said, funny because Buhari has left.
But not unusual.
But not unusual. They are going there. Now, Shehu has blown the lead off of the whole thing and has gone straight to the chase and said, guys, these visits are not for Salah. They are not out of courtesy. You guys are going to milk whatever it is you can milk out of the old man. Maybe coalesced to form a coalition with the goal of unseating President Tinubu. Now, this is pure and simple, crass, barefaced politics. Call it raw politic, call it brinkmanship, but this is what it is, barefaced. Now, it is fine because in politics, as in democracy, There are freedoms. You cannot stop them from thinking, from associating, from speaking, from gathering, from taking action as they deem fit for their own interests. It's okay. But again, the pragmatics of Nigerian politics are very Nigerian in themselves. How do I mean? President Buhari was not a good, perhaps wasn't the best president we could have had. But he was there for 8 years. And those who know would say that the reason his allies in the South didn't upturn things for him was because they said he was a northern president who needed to do 8 years in office.
Yeah.
As a result, we all had the famous Abeokuta declaration when a voice screamed and said, Emi Lokon. Now, Emi Lokon, not because I subscribe to Emi Lokonism as a philosophy, not because the president has done everything that it is he has done that I like as a citizen. It may never be that, but the fact is that I hope these people understand what is at stake. That when Northern has done 8 years uninterrupted with the support of his critical allies in the South, the North, as it were, owes the South the same citizen. I'm looking for the word to use. It's not sticking now.
Gesture.
The favor.
Favor, okay.
The North owes it to return the favor to the South to say, you to do. It is not about performance. This is Nigeria, because the fact is that for those of us who even believe in merit, because our tribe is not yet highly populated, all right? If anything had to happen and the forest was to be shaken, the big animals will stand. It is the grass, it is the turf. So they must not take us there.
Cyril, in these things, I cannot take my eyes off Otto von Bismarck, who I quoted earlier. You know, let me go there. Politics is not a science based on logic. It is the capacity of always choosing at each instance, in constantly changing situations, the least harmful, the most useful. And of course, politics is the art of the possible.
Now, I'm glad you've raised a number of issues. Let me take just two of them. The least harmful.
Yeah.
And the other one you talked about, the last one you picked.
Okay, the art of the possible.
Yes, the possible. Yes, possible. Now, is it because, so what can we attain that won't be harmful? That's where we should be going.
Okay.
What is the possibility that carries with it the least potential for harm?
Yeah.
Now, what Shehu Sani has warned that the attempt to galvanize or mobilize the Arewa, that is the Northerners, those who are up-country folks, against a sitting Southern president, they need to calculate the odds properly, because it will come with consequences. Emiloko was a threat, in case you're not, look at it again. It's my turn, don't take it, because if you took it from me, so what then happens? So, if you attempt to take it, fine. If you did, there will be consequences. And for me, it is not about Buhari versus Tinubu versus Shetima versus it's not even for me. The real concern is when any conflagration happens, it will not be suffered or borne by these people who are paying visits to Buhari. It will be borne by common Nigerians. Sani was very correct. He said that, look, you can't do this thing and then use gullible northern voters to, as cannon fodder. Why should we do this at this time? When Buhari was president, we saw him carrying roads to Niger, buying vehicles for the president, helping them build state house in Equatorial Guinea, building a refinery in Niger, and so on. The South didn't buckle. They even came to say that cows that are passing, that the speed of trains should be reduced to allow cows use the train tracks along with the trains. Who went to court over that? Nobody went to court. Was it right? Certainly not. Again, excuse me, sir. Is everything Tinubu doing now right? Maybe not. Of course, a number of times I have had to speak out and say
again.
Yes.
Extend the logic. Is everything he's doing now wrong?
Perhaps no.
Perhaps not.
Of course not. But then my argument is very simple and straightforward. Where we are at a very delicate crossroads.
You know, again,
what exactly has President Tinubu done to warrant this whole groundswell?
Okay, of visits.
Exactly, especially because
hold on.
They are intended to disclose from
office. Does the visit of a former vice president not raise extra strands of hair?
Look, so a former vice president in the person of
Alhaji Atiku
Abubakar, former senator and two-time governor of Borno State.
Yeah.
A man who commands...
No, Sokoto State.
No, Borno State. Okay. Senator Aliyu Modu Sheriff.
Okay, Modu Sheriff.
He passed on the baton to Shetima before Shetima passed on to Babagana Zulu.
Okay.
So you have the person of SAS rather, Ali Modu Sheriff, Senator Ali Sheriff. That's a man with a very thick reputation, if you know what I mean. You have El Rufai. El Rufai has problems in Kaduna State.
But El Rufai appeared to me to be the godson of former President Buhari.
El Rufai has problems in Kaduna State about how it is now been alleged he either misappropriated or frittered 423 billion naira.
That has not affected his relationship with the man in question.
So the question is, yes, I mean, shouldn't be curious to have time, all right? Enough time to be paying.
Say
yes,
politicians would have time to do what is of interest to them. No.
Because
Otto von Bismarck also warned. His words, what we learn from history is that no one learns from history. Exactly.
And so you find that, I mean, you have this humongous accusation against you in your home where you've been governor for 8 years. And I thought that such a matter will keep him busy. You know, will occupy his
Cyril, but let's talk about incumbent President Bola Tinubu. He is an old war horse.
He is.
So you don't expect him to sit in an easy chair, cross his legs, and snooze as this is happening.
So let me be very upfront with you.
These maneuverings are not happening with him not taking note.
With him resting on his oars.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly do believe that if this alone, President Tinubu has very little to worry about, except that he, to being like you said, an old war horse, he understands the vagaries of the system. He understands the delicate balance. But you see, let's face it squarely. What it will lead to is that governments will subpedal on fighting corruption. If I thought they were fighting it before. Because something has to give, right? So you will see the government will now step down on fighting corruption. Government will, you hear them awards to contact to people that they not perhaps shouldn't have awarded it to, because they have to settle people. That's also in the picture. Then in the end, everything becomes grounded. And who really takes the beating for it is the common man. Because in our politics, Nigerians don't matter. Nigerians are an afterthought. It is what politicians call I, me aloneism. I, me alone. Himself, his wife, his children, and maybe some hangers on. Apart from that, no one else matters.
But let me come from a different tangent. In the recent past, we can add, coming from this other tangent I just talked about, former President Obasanjo is known to be liaising with the Tinubu family, if you understand what I mean.
And yes, of course I do.
Bode George, who was, if you ask me, a sworn enemy before, is speaking President Tinubu's language.
Yes.
So what are we talking about?
What we're talking about is this. The president and his team foresaw this. I can assure you that in Nigeria, we've known that some parts of this country are never easy to satisfy. The president knew that to push through with his agenda in government, most definitely he will lose some support in the north. He knew it. I believe he did. And so early they would have told him how to shop his weaknesses, so that if you lose some here, you can gain some elsewhere. That's how they asked Jonathan. In 2011, shortly after won the election, there was a political intelligence document where it was said that if the Southwest and the Northwest came together, that they can take power. Maybe that memo was not seen by the president. Maybe the president didn't take note of the memo, and that was what exactly happened. The Southwest came together and joined with the Northwest, and they ousted Jonathan from office. So yes, there are people who are sitting. I believe I can tell you for a fact that the president knew he couldn't always bank on the support of his friends in the North. Maybe not all of them. So that's what it's critical for him, because if you're fighting a battle on two fronts, it's not a good thing, right? I think it worked because in his own case, he quickly had to take care of his own backyard at whatever price, at whatever cost. Now nobody's asking, what did it cost him to get Buhari Judge over to his side? what has it cost him to get Obasanjo over to his side? Because that would have come at a very, very steep cost. Among these men, no love was lost whatsoever.
Oh yeah.
So this has come at a very steep corner.
And of course we add the notion that in politics there are no permanent friends or permanent enemies.
Yes, only permanent interest.
Yeah.
So going back up north, it is fair to say that by 2027, if some of those who are now some of those who are fighting the president would have come back to support him, I actually foresee Buhari coming out to say he's my candidate, I support him. Of course, I foresee him doing. It is not for nothing that the president's wife has been visiting the former president from time to time. All of these things are ways of shoring up support and acting as bellwether. So, yes, they will gather surely, but I don't know how far that gathering will go. Except if people like Rufai, what's his name, Buhari, Atiku, SAS, and even Buhari himself all come together to thoroughly cut the northern voting total and say our candidate is P2B. That is the real thing that can cause an earthquake for Tinubu. Anything other than that is just another.
So the jostling and the maneuverings are natural.
Of course they are.
So the toing and froing is to keep people's gaze moving sideways.
Well, but if not well managed, it could lead to a cataclysm.
And the everyday man misses something.
He does, because ultimately politics ought to be about him. But in Nigeria, so I think we don't even play politics. What we do is crass politicking. It's just politicking. Whenever I go from politics to governance, it's just politicking all the way. I hope we don't remain here, but because politicking does not do the common man any good.
Again, one final quote I want to take from Otto von Bismarck. He said, "Never believe anything in politics until it's been officially denied." So,
of course,
am I expecting an official denial going by Senator Sani's warnings? And when you want to fool the world, according to von Bismarck, tell the truth.
So where we are now, right? My parting shot. Where we are now is that President Buhari will have to come out and say, nobody came to meet me that we should unseat Tinubu. He has my support. He's my successor, and I wish him all the best. If he can do that, fine. If he will not, then of course the cloud of rumors will continue to tick in.
Well, at least we have given you a little something to chew. So chew at 8, we mold opinion by what we have discussed. So I want to thank Cyril Abaku for his time.
My pleasure.
The debate will continue from your part of town. 2027 unfolding before our eyes. Never lose this. In politics, 1 week is a long time. So I'm out of here. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye now. Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.